First up, we have Toys R Us, which was once known as the most famous toy brand in the world for its large selection and variety. And what I like about this store in particular is the overall atmosphere with all the lights, the signs and the bright music being played in the background. It's such a fun and vibrant area to be in, and of course plenty of action figures and toys on display. They also have their fun and games with their arcades, as well as the things we expect from a Toys R Us store, such as Lego, as well as their classic board games. Of course, every time I visit Toys R Us, I do look for their superhero characters from DC to Marvel, and they even have a section dedicated for the Marvel Legends. Every time there's a new release or new wave, they will more or less have them stocked up on the shelves, although it is pretty limited and they do sell out pretty quickly. So overall, I do enjoy visiting Toys R Us. There's plenty to see and I definitely recommend it. Next up, we have a shopping mall called CVMA, and this consists of clothing and accessory stores. But there are a few of them that display these toys and action figures, and one of them is pretty noticeable with a huge glass displaying all these action figures, which does include some of the latest hot toys. I must admit I haven't really picked anything up from these stores as they more or less have them in the other shops, but it's definitely worth checking out. And if you're into the brand Mafex, there is a store in the corner which they do have them pretty early, so it's worth checking out. Next up, we have Richmond Shopping Arcade, which is a old style mall. There's one basement plus 3 floors, and basically the mall is separated into different stores. Plenty of new as well as old classic action figures on display. So you'll find a lot of them displayed in the packaging, as well as action figures that are out of their boxes, because these are the classic vintage ones. And what I like about this mall in particular is you always find something new. Even if the figure is 15 to 20 years old, sometimes they will pop up in these stores. So if you're also into the custom made figures, such as Enter Bay or Hot Toys, there's a few stores for those as well. And the latest figures from your animes or your latest superhero figures, you will also find them here, especially the SH Figuarts Dragon Ball and Avengers figures. So I do recommend this mall for those. And quite high on the list is a shopping mall called Sino Center, because not only do they have plenty of action figures and toys, this place has plenty of phone accessory stores, games, as well as hair products and candy stores. And we also find some of the classic retro style arcades and computer consoles as well. And there's quite a nice selection to see, including the Game Boys as well as their accessories. But I chose this mall in particular because there's a secret base located on the 20th floor. So you have to take the lifts and you'll reach the Hot Toys basement. Of course, this is the official Hot Toys store, so I definitely recommend this mall just for this place. The next one is a shop called Toy Zone, and this is such a huge store. It's only one of them, but I call this the warehouse. And you probably have to spend about an hour to an hour and a half just to look through everything. And this is not really a store for the latest figures, but if you're into the 80s, 90s, early 2000s, you'll find a lot of the action figures here, especially for the superheroes. So you'll find a lot of the Marvel, the DC classics. And if you're also into Star Wars, there's also plenty of that to see. And also some of the old classics from the 90s by McFarlane, Mecca. You also find a lot of car model kits, but I'm mainly here for the superheroes. So a lot of the classic Batmans and Superman figures, definitely worth checking out. And the last one is Inns Point, which is probably my favorite and one of the most popular ones for the action figures, because it's such a huge store and there's plenty of shops separated into different sections, and they more or less have the latest SH Figuarts. So every time there's a new release for Dragon Ball, Avengers, DC, you more or less have them in this stock as soon as possible. Of course, plenty of shops have the same figures, so you can walk around, compare the prices. And basically there's such a huge variety to choose from. Not only is there new figures, you'll find a lot of the old classics. And from time to time I do find some Marvel Legends, even the ones that you don't really expect to find, from Toy Biz to Hasbro. There's also a huge variety of classic figures and Lego as well. So definitely recommend Inns Point.